Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to go over the NFL for Sunday, September 8th. And as you can see, the opening odds are on the screen referring to the spread. Money line is right here. And we're going to go over this real quick. Now there wasn't many, considering this is week 1, there wasn't much on the numerology to go by. So this week, for the most part, outside of this first game, we're going to focus on the odds and how the odds did throughout the week versus where the money is going. And yeah, let's get started with this. As you can see, Tennessee opens at plus 192, Chicago minus 217. And as you can see, they went from that to plus 160 minus 190. That was on Wednesday. That is midweek. That is the end of the day Wednesday. And currently it is plus 152 minus 180. But we're going to focus on this real quick. Let's go over this real quick. The opening odds have been reduced. 1 plus 92. 1 plus 92 is 93. And that's how we get these odds up here. 21 plus 7 is 28. And that's how we get these odds up here. It's called reduction. Separate the integers, add them together. And spread. Tennessee plus 4. Chicago minus 4. Minus 115. Minus 105 are the costs. Those are the costs on the right side. And the over-under for this one is 43.5 currently. And we're going to go over the breakdown real quick. This is the only game we're going to break down because the rest of the weekend wasn't really much to go by. It is week 1. And I do like getting something fresh going into the week 2 before I apply this level of decode. But yeah, Titans get the 8th win, can get 8th win all time versus Bears on the 8th day of the month. Titans quarterback Will Levis can become 3-7 versus Chicago. Chicago equals 37. Let me show you that. 37 is the 12th prime number. You can see right here, 37 is the 12th prime number. And Tennessee opening money line plus 192. 1 plus 9 plus 2 equals 12. Chicago opening money line minus 217. 2 plus 1 plus 7 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. And Chicago quarterback can win his first game or lose his first game. This is his first game as a Bear. Caleb Williams. All right, currently this is where the money is going based off these odds right here. But we're going to focus on this one right here currently, where the odds are, where they were midweek. And plus 160 for the Titans, minus 190 for Chicago. And that was based off these odds here. This was midweek. 84% going with Chicago on the money. The money is on the left. The bets are on the right. 84% of the money going with Chicago. And 46% going with Chicago on the spread. 54% of the money going with the Titans. And that was based off this, the 5.5 and the minus 5.5. Currently it is down to 4. 4-point favorites are the Bears in this one. And currently plus 152 for the Titans, minus 180 for the Bears. That is based off these right here, the current, where the money is going currently. 90% going in Chicago's favor based off this minus 180. 10% going in the Titans' favor based off this plus 152. 93% of the bets going in Chicago's favor, 7% going in the Titans' favor. 66% going in the Titans' favor of the bets based off of this plus 4, minus 4 for the Bears. 66% choosing the betting on the Titans, 34% on the Bears. 74% of the money are going with the Titans in this one. So people basically looking for a quick payday. But when the sharps go in, they're going to bet Chicago. I'm going to tell you that right now. The sharps go in late. 26%. Heavy bettors that go in late are called the sharps. 26% of the money, 26% of the money on the spread is going with the Bears in this one. And as you can see, that 105 hits more so than not. Bears are favored in this one. Over under is at 43.5. Over is getting the higher cost at minus 115. Over percentage of money is getting 69%. 85% going with of the bets are going with the over. 43.5 in that one. Let's go with the next one. If you want my picks, they will be on my Patreon. Link is in the video and in the description. New Orleans, Carolina versus New Orleans. All right, opening odds have been reduced, but that's not going to apply this week as we're just going to focus on where the odds were midweek versus currently. And as you can see, 90%, this was midweek, 90% going with the Saints of the money, 78% of the bets going with the Saints, 46% of the money going with the Saints in this one, 43% of the bets going with the Saints on the spread, that is. So Carolina's getting more of the money on the spread. New Orleans dominating the ML. And the under is dominating the total midweek. Midweek. That is based off of. All right. Based off these odds here, it's 4.5. So they're getting 46%. And 43% is New Orleans. Based off this. 46% of the money, 43% of the bets. All right, currently, plus 168, minus 200. Odds really haven't changed very much throughout the week. As you can see, they were minus 192 on DraftKings, minus 200 on FanDuel. Odds really for this game haven't changed much, but we're going to go over this real quick, and you're going to see neither has the splits. 61% going in Carolina's favor based off this 3.5. 61% based off this 3.5. Cost is minus 104. The cost for New Orleans is obviously much higher. They are getting a large percentage of the. Well, they will get a large percentage of the bets when these sharps go in. They are at a higher cost right now, but people are picking Carolina on the spread, but they're going heavy with New Orleans on the ML. 74% of the money going in their direction on the spread. So basically, they expect New Orleans to win. If they win by a field goal or less, obviously, 86% of the money, 86% of the bets going in New Orleans' favor, 94% of the money going in their favor currently, based off this minus 200. People betting heavily on the Saints in this one. The under is still dominating, 85% and 85%, based off this 41.5. And the cost is at minus 108. But the minus 112s hit more often. But people are expecting a low-scoring game with these two teams. Let's go to the next one. All right. Pittsburgh versus Atlanta. I had to check where my cursor was. All right. Pittsburgh versus Atlanta. Plus 156 to open the week. What is opening? Plus 144, minus 160. Midweek, it was plus 156, minus 186. And currently, it is plus 164, minus 196. And 78% of the money is going with Atlanta. 76% of the money is going with Atlanta. 78% of the bets, 76% of the money is going with Atlanta. In this one, based off this minus 196, plus 164. But midweek, based off this plus 156, minus 186, Atlanta was, let me scroll down. They were at only 41%. 41% of the money was going with Atlanta early in the week. Now they're at 76%. They're at 76% now. And as you can see, their cost went up near 200 now. That was based off the minus 186. They were near 200 then. Now they're even closer. Obviously, more people betting on them. That is an indicator of more than likely who will be victorious in this one. The higher the cost, the higher the amount of bets for them. If they wouldn't need to raise the price if it was going the other direction. Now, The spread is also 3.5, a lot like the last one. Started at 2.5, now it's 3.5. Atlanta favored, minus 106 cost currently. And that is getting 71% of the bets going the Steelers' way, 51% about even on the money. Just about even on the money. Over under is at 41.5, minus 115 cost. 41.5 minus 105 cost. 63% going with the under of the money going under. However, the over is getting 87% of the bets. So people betting heavily on the under with the money. But the betting slips are getting, the over is getting a much higher percentage, obviously. So when the sharps go in, they are more than likely going to go with this one, the under 13. Under 13 at a lower cost at that minus 105 sweet spot. Even though the under is getting 63% of the money, that's not, 87%, that can flip. You're getting 87% of the bet slips. That's dangerous because those bet slips can easily increase their amount of wager, increase their money into what they're betting. And when the sharps go in, they bet late or they increase their value late. That 13% is definitely going to increase as we head toward kickoff for that one. All right, Arizona versus Buffalo. They started out at plus 260 for Arizona, minus 302 for the Buffalo Bills, plus 250 for Arizona, minus 320 for Buffalo. And that is based off of these odds here. 80% going Buffalo's favor midweek, 86% of the bets, 80% of the money. 86% of the bets, 80% of the money based off this 320 and plus 250. So that was based off the Bills. So that's minus 320. That was based off of. They have decreased in value, minus 290 now, plus 240. So plus 240 for Arizona, minus 290 for Buffalo, and that is based off of this. 94% of the money going in Buffalo's favor, 90%. So they have gone up, down in cost, but up in the amount of money in bets. But that's not really relevant because they're so high up. This cost is so high. You can easily guess who's probably going to win this game. It doesn't really matter about the cost because you're going to bet on them anyway. 66% of the money going with the Bills on the spread, expecting them to win by a touchdown based off this 6.5 point spread. 60% of the bets are going in Arizona's favor, but they're only getting 34% of the money on the spread. So people expecting them to, well, based off the betting slips, they expect them to win, to lose by less than a touchdown or win the game. But not very many people expecting them to win the game, only 10% and 6% of the money. So over under is at 46.5. Cost is minus 110. And the over is getting 54% of the money. 72% of the betting slips are going with the under. Once again, that is always dangerous because those bet slips could easily flip their amount of money and go higher. But yeah, that is the Arizona Buffalo game. Let's go to the next one. New England versus Cincinnati. Opening at strange odds, plus 328 for the Patriots, minus 393 for the Bengals. New England midweek they were 330, plus 330, minus 420 midweek. So Cincinnati were huge favorites, the biggest of the day so far. And now it's based off this 90% and 96% of the bet slips, 90% of the money, 96% of the betting slips. Based off of that minus 420, they have gone down in value, both in their respective directions, minus 375 plus 300 for New England in this one. And at minus 375 is based off this 91% going in the Bengals' favor, 95% of the betting slips going in their favor. So they're even bigger favorites since the midweek, since middle of the week. The spread currently is 7.5. Cincinnati, 7.5 point favorites. 68% of the money going in their direction. 67% of the betting slips going in their direction. Just about even, but just about the same as the money and the betting is about the same amount. Over under is at 40.5. Under is at that minus 105, that sweet spot. Those hit more so than the 115s. 115s hit, but not nearly as often. However, the over is getting 88% of the betting slips, 59% of the money going over. So look out for that over. That over looks dangerous. That 115 does look dangerous in this one. As far as to pick them, consider picking them. That is that 91%, 95% more people are going to bet on that. More so, this may if this increases, you know who's going to win the game. This minus 375. If that increases at all, you know who's going to win that game based off this 91% and 95% of the betting slips, 91% of the money. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Houston versus Indianapolis. All right. Minus 124 to open for Houston, plus 112 for Indianapolis. Minus 152 for Houston, plus 128 for Indianapolis. Midweek, that is based off of this. 86% of the money going in Houston's favor. 82% of the betting slips going in their favor. Now, early in the week, they were getting 78% of the money based off this minus 1.5. 78% Houston was of the spread, getting 78% of the money on the spread based off the minus 1.5. They are now 2.5-point favorites. And that is now they're getting 71% of the money. 46% of the betting slips going in Houston's favor. 54% going with the Colts on the spread. 92% of the money going in Houston's favor. 83% of the betting slips going in their favor currently based off this minus 148 plus 126 for Indianapolis. 78% going under. 93% going under. 48.5 points minus 105 is the cost for the under at that sweet spot. Look out for that. And they're getting most of the money as well. Sportsbooks always make money off the over-under, especially in football and basketball. They always make money off the over-under regardless of what's selected, of what you choose. It's just you got to make sure you choose the right one and parlay it. But yeah, the over-under is at 48.5 for that one. Let's go with Jacksonville, Miami. Plus 161 to open for Jacksonville. Minus 180 to open for Miami Dolphins. Midweek, they were at plus 146, minus 174. And that is based off of these odds here. Minus 174 for Miami. 91% of the money for Miami. 93% of the betting slips for the Dolphins. Minus 190 currently for Miami. Minus 190 for Miami. Favorite. Plus 160 for Jacksonville currently. That is 92% of the money going in Miami's favor, 94% of the betting slips going in their favor. The spread is 50-50. Now they did now to go back to this the money line, they did go up in value. Minus 190, minus 174. They did increase in value, and they did increase in value here. So it gives you some idea on who's going to take this one. Who's going to take this game, because Miami is they're not massive favorites either. They're favorites, but not massive favorites. But yeah, Miami, 3.5-point favorites. Expecting them to win by more than a field goal. 50% of the betting slips, 50-50 based off that. Cost is dead even, minus 110. 52% of the Miami, 52% of the money. They are getting a major, an advantage, a 2% advantage. Basically, on the money. 49.5, 49.5 going over under, 49.5. This minus 105 is getting that sweet spot, the over is. And they are getting 86% of the money going over. Keep that in mind. All right. Let's go with Minnesota, New York Giants. Plus 105 to open for Minnesota, minus 115 for the New York Giants. Now, the odds haven't changed in this one very much. Minus 124 to plus 106 currently is still the same thing. 1.5 point favorites. Now, that could change come toward as we approach kickoff, but minus 1.5 for a point and a half favorite for the Vikings. 1.5 point advantage for the Giants. They started at 0.5, half a point. Half a point favorite for the Vikings to open. And that minus 1.5 is currently 46% of the money, 54% going with the Giants, 58% going with the Giants on the betting slips, 42% going with the Vikings. The money line, minus 124 for the Vikings, plus 106 for the Giants. That is based off the 77% of the money going with the Vikings, 72% of the betting slips going with the Vikings. In that one, they haven't really increased in value. So the Giants do have some value in this one. As an underdog. Consider that over-unders at 41.5, that 105 sweet spot right here. 86% of the money going over, 64% going over in the percentage of money. Let's go down to the Chargers versus Raiders. Chargers. All right. Opening plus 130, minus 155. Midweek, it was plus 146, minus 174. And they have since decreased back to plus 134, minus 158. Now, that plus 134, minus 158 is based off the 68% of the money going with the Chargers, 80% going with of the betting going with the Chargers. However, the Raiders it's a flip with the Raiders on the spread. The spread is at 3 points, favoring the Chargers at that minus 105. They opened at 2.5. Now they're at 3. They're a field goal advantage. They got to win by a field goal or more. 72% going with the Raiders. 74% going with the Raiders currently. Based off of that. That minus 115 is getting all of the money. Well, 74% of the money, 72% of the betting slips. Over-unders at 39.5. Under is at 39.5. Minus 105 is that sweet spot I've been telling y'all about. Under is getting 37%. 14% going under in this one. Over is getting 39.5. Over is getting 86%, 63% of the money. But that 3-point spread for the Chargers is only getting 26% of the money. However, they're getting 68% of the money on the money line. The odds have decreased for them. Now, where were they middle of the week? With that minus 174, let's see where they were in the middle of the week. All right. 86% of the betting slips, 74% of the money. So they have decreased 86%, turns into 80%, 74%. So they both gone down 6%. And they've also gone down in value. As well. So if you were to go to go with the Raiders in this one, you probably would not be wrong. But just the way the odds have gone, they have decreased in value, though. Just keep that in mind. The Chargers have. And so has their betting percentages. All right, Denver versus Seattle. All right, Denver versus Seattle. Plus 170, minus 205. 225 for Denver, minus 275 for Seattle. All right, sorry about that. All right, 71% of the bettings of the spread. We're going to focus on the spread for this one because it's minus 120, minus 102. 5.5 point favorites are Denver. 71% of the money, 48% of the money on the betting slips. However, 97% are in favor of Seattle currently. 95% of the money, 97% of the betting is going with the Seahawks in this one. Not very many people going with Denver on the money line in this one. Their value has increased and decreased somewhat. They are getting such a large percentage that is difficult to go against what's going on, even though they are huge advantage at that minus. They're above that minus 250 now at minus 260. But the underdog does have value in this one on the money line. Can sneak and get this game. Seattle is a huge major favorite against Denver at home. Beware of major home favorites, especially when they're not dominant teams. Beware of selecting them. The over-under is at 41.5. 83% of the money going under. 87% of the money, the bets going under in that one. Just keep in mind of that 260. And let's see that midweek they were minus 275. And that was based off 82% of the money and 98% of the betting slips. So they have decreased in value, but increased in their wages and their betting. But that minus 260 is enough to cover that. But beware of the underdog in that one. All right, Dallas versus Cleveland. Dallas versus Cleveland. All right, 78% of the money. Well, let's start minus 120 for Dallas, plus 100 even for the Cleveland Browns opening. Dallas started as a favorite in this one. Now they're an underdog, plus 118, minus 138. Now it's plus 118, minus 136. So Cleveland has dropped 2 points, basically. But they are a favorite. They started as an underdog, now they are a favorite. 2.5 point favorites are the Cleveland Browns on the spread. Over-unders at 40.5. The under does have a higher cost at minus 118. 78% of the money going with Dallas. 73% of the bets going with Dallas. Let's see. 42% of the money going with Dallas in this one. 47% of the bets going with Dallas. Over is getting 65% of the money. Over is getting 86% of the money. Based off the total at that 40.5. Now the underdog could sneak and win this game, but Cleveland's not a major home favorite. They're a favorite, but not a major home favorite, not even on the odds. When the sharps go in, they're more than likely going to bet Dallas. So beware of that. But yeah, they are a favorite and they're not near that minus 150 sweet spot. So look out for the Cowboys in that one. They could sneak and win that game on the road. Washington versus Tampa Bay, plus 182 for Washington, minus 205 for Tampa Bay. Midweek they were at plus 152, minus 180. Currently they are at plus 162, minus 194. And that is based off 83% of the money going with the Buccaneers, 95% of the betting going with the Buccaneers currently. However, Washington is dominating the spreads currently, 73% of the money and 64% of the betting slips based off of the 3.5 point favorite Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 42.5 is the total in that one. The over is getting the higher cost, but the under is getting that minus 105 sweet spot. The under, 12%, 44% going under. Of the betting slips, 12% of the money. People are expecting a high scoring game for some reason. And yeah, more people, 88% of the money going over. So, in that case, now the odds have changed. It's minus 118 becomes minus 115, minus 104 becomes minus 105. This has increased. The Tampa Bay spread has increased in value, but the Washington has decreased in value, even though Washington is still getting a major part of the spread, indicating it could be a favorite winning. The favorite could win outright, even on the spread. This 3.5 and this minus 194. They did increase in value Uh, from midweek, they are now minus 194. Just keep that in mind. Over under is 42 and a half. Over is higher cost, but the under is at that minus 105. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, Tampa Bay 95% of the betting slips in that one. I wouldn't ride Washington off in this one. I would not ride them off in this one. They are on the road, but based off the way the odds have moved, they are in Tampa Bay's favor. Just based off the way they have moved and the way the odds have moved as well. But just keep that in mind. And I think the next game is the Detroit LA Rams game. All right. Go back up. Plus 168 for the Rams, minus 189 for Detroit. Plus 170. Well, midweek they were plus 160, minus 190. Currently they are plus 176, minus 210. So Detroit has increased in value throughout the week. Throughout the week they have increased in value. And that plus 176, minus 210 is regarding this 55% in the Lions' favor, 52% in Detroit's favor. Of the betting slips, 55% of the money, 52% of the betting slips. The spread is at minus 4.5 points. That is based off 60% on the Lions, 46% of the betting slips going in the Lions' favor. However, the over is dominating the betting. 71% of the betting slips going over 60% of the money. Minus 110 even across. But that minus 105 sweet spot is in their favor on the spread. 60% of the money, 46%. Basically, somewhat about even, especially based off week one percentages. People don't really know which way to go. People just bet based off, favorites or based off what players did last season and star player, things like that. So this is Stafford versus Goff part 2. A new season, that is. Stafford versus Goff at quarterback. But yeah, this time the Rams are at Detroit. But yeah, this should be an entertaining game. Should be most people expecting a high scoring game. Look out for the under in that case. People are going to expect a high scoring game. That's why the total is so high, 52.5 points. But yeah, expect a high scoring game. Detroit has increased in value. Just keep that in mind at home. But the spread is probably where you're going to make your money. Spread is probably where you're going to make your money. Detroit is at that minus 105. But the 115 could win here. That 115 could win here. And as you can see, they opened at at minus 122. They did go down. Detroit did go up. But Detroit has 60% of the money currently. If that goes up at all, look out for Detroit to win that point spread. If that goes down or stays even, look out for the Rams, even for them to possibly win the game. But yeah, we will do the Monday night game tomorrow. That is the next one. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Picks are on the Patreon. Link is in the description. I've been Scott. Pray every day. You guys take care.